In honor of D&December, a celebration created by Project dedicated to Dungeons & Dragons, I decided to finally try a game that he played some time ago on his gameplay channel called Order of the Griffon. I wouldn't be surprised if you've never heard of it, since it's a game for a pretty unpopular retro console called the turbografx 16. Because of this, I think this game is a bit of a hidden gem, so I made this video in an effort to use my vast influence and a huge viewer base to promote it. Alright, I just wanted to talk about this game, okay? You start the game by creating your party. You can create your own customized characters, which I imagine is a letdown for some people, but you have a decent amount of specialized characters to choose from that vary on race, profession, and stats. After you're happy with your choice, you are thrown into the introduction of your mission and you're shortly run into the Order of the Griffon, a group of people looking to save the land from evil monsters and the such, which you quickly join. The gameplay is mainly divided into two formats. One of them is first-person mode, which you'll use to roam around the dungeons and interact with other characters, plus when you run into a specific place or situation, it'll be narrated to you in D&D fashion. A lot of times there isn't anything showcased by graphics, like when you run into an empty room but you're told it's filled with certain items or characters, which I don't mind too much since it's in the spirit of the genre, but it would have been nice to have some resemblance of what being described. But one great thing about this aspect is that you're not just told what's being shown or happening, but instead you frequently have to make a choice, and depending on it you may, for example, engage the enemy, get a reward, or avoid combat altogether. These decisions aren't super fleshed out though. A lot of times they are like, you found this thing, I choose to investigate, you are attacked. But they're enough to add an element of player interaction to the game that I think is super important for a D&D title. The second format is during combat. A lot of these first-person exploration games keep this aspect when engaging an enemy as well, but on this title we are thrown into a different mode during battle that allows you to see the enemy and the position of your own party on a set grid, in the same vein as the Fire Emblem series. This mode fits the theme perfectly and allows for unit placement to be a pretty big role in how you engage the enemy, which would be missing if you were to just fight in first person. Each specific unit has their own turn, which can be used to move around, attack, use an item or a spell. And what's nice is that all encounters are randomized to some extent. The number of units you face for an encounter stays the same, but you'll notice that if you have to redo a specific fight inside a dungeon, the stats of the enemy units vary, which can add some replayability. When defeating enemies, you obviously get gold, experience and items. On your party menu you can manage your loot and each character's equipment, plus seeing the stats and level of each member, choose which spells are memorized and rest to regain these spells if desired. If you're not familiar with D&D rules, like me since I've always been interested but I rarely played it, you have a certain amount of slots for spells you can assign at a time. This amount increases when leveling up, and after you use up your spells you can rest and recover them. Unfortunately, this leads to a bit of a flaw in the game, and that is how unintuitive a lot of aspects of it are without having a basic understanding of D&D. I honestly would have been a lot more lost if I hadn't watched someone like Project play and explain a lot of it, but a silver lining is that the manual of the game does explain a lot of mechanics, so if you plan on playing it, I heavily recommend you search online for a PDF of it, especially for the overworld map and information such as what spells do and what each weapon, piece of armor or item does, since that's not explained in the game in the slightest. Apart from the gameplay, the story is not mind-blowing, but it's alright. It feels very basic, but it fulfills its purpose of giving you an objective and putting you in an environment that clearly needs a hero. When it comes to music, it can be pretty enjoyable. There is some nice tunes like the town song, and there is also a pretty sick tune for combat. Wait, what? Oh yeah, the game has this weird glitch in which when you start combat, as soon as there is a sound effect the music turns itself off. You'll end up fighting every combat in an awkward silence with only sound effects to accompany you, which as you can imagine brings the mood of the combat down. Regardless of this, the game is in general enjoyable and has a good feel of progression, but apart from the issues I mentioned, there is a couple of flaws that don't allow me to enjoy it fully. There isn't any kind of map, and dungeons are huge mazes filled with lots of dead ends, and since like I mentioned there is no graphics that make rooms stand out, you can easily get lost. I heavily recommend drawing your own map as you progress. And during combat, your party and enemies constantly miss attacks. I'm not exaggerating when I say you miss more than 60% of your attacks, which makes encounters heavily depend on luck. You can get crushed on an encounter and on the second attempt easily stomp them if you just get lucky and land your attacks. So if you haven't already, should you give this game a shot? I think so, yeah. It's unique enough that I think it's worth trying, especially if you're a fan of retro or D&D games, but if you do play it and you emulate it, I recommend using save states since they heavily reduce having to run into unnecessary battles or any engagements that may go south just based on RNG. Of course, I never use save states. I'm a total hardcore gamer that doesn't mind constantly redoing the same thing over and over again. Nope, never have I ever in my life used save states. Hey, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.